evil. And I don't disagree with that, but could you not make a case that science is also evil? You called it great success, what science does. Would you call the bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki great success? Or are those not evil as well?
Well, you know, sure, science can be evil too. I happen to agree that the bombs didn't have to be dropped. I think, and a lot of people disagree with me on that, but I still think it could have been done. And in fact, when we went to the Truman Museum not too long ago, about last week, there's some interesting quotations from very important people like Eisenhower and Admiral Leahy and a number of other top military people who say that they didn't have to drop the bomb. So,
the guy who gave the order to drop the bomb was Harry Truman. So
yeah. Right. But anyway, so that was, it was not a scientific decision, you see. And there were a lot of scientists opposed to it. What happened, you know, the reason why the scientists were so hot to build the bomb is because they knew that Hitler had it, was working on it. That was for sure. And if Hitler ever got the thing, we were all finished. And so they said they had to do it. And it was, again, a lot of Jewish scientists in particular were working on it for that reason.
Well, my question is, though, could you not make a case for both? I mean, of course, you know, you have evidence for everything. But could you not make a case for as well that science might cause some evil? Is there no case for that?
It's in the wrong hands.
But what religion is just in the wrong hands?
Well, again, I probably shouldn't call any abstract thing evil. I should call people evil, and the people who practice these things in a bad way, in a way that's harmful to humanity, should be called evil. Yeah.
If I could add a note to your question, I would say that a form of evil that science is involved in a more systemic way, and not just sort of incidentally because of a decision a Baptist president made about the bomb, is animal experimentation. There's a huge ongoing campaign of extremely cruel animal experimentation that seems to be just the very lifeblood of experimental science as we know it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that
an operational definition of evil. We keep using words. You guys have a definition of evil here. We're just throwing it around. What are we talking about here?
They use the term suffering.
But you remember my argument about science.
I think we're talking about the unacceptable.
Yeah. No, all this I agree with. I think the argument about science is not based on science being good. It's based on science working. I mean, certainly the fact that we could blow up the world isn't very good, but it shows that science really works. That was what got me into science. It was the nuclear bombs going off at the end of World War II. I was listening to all those test explosions on the radio. I say, wow, anything this powerful, anything with this ability is something to learn about, something to study, something to get into. Believe it or not, that motivated me at age 16 or no, I was about 10 actually at that time. Yeah.
I'm just wanting to understand more your comment about religious decision-making in the Bush administration. This isn't a political question at all, but decisions that you refer to as certain decisions made in the absence of data. I understand that part.
Yeah.
But just the real world, and really at the time as I was reflecting on it, there were a lot of discussions and a lot of classified information. I understand that the Israelis, like Brits, did a little sandbox experiment and everybody came to the same conclusion. But in the real world, where we don't have the luxury of controlled experiments, sometimes decisions need to be made asking the manager in the absence of complete.
Sure, that's always true, but in the case of Bush, it was carried to an ultimate extreme that no other administration, no matter how bad, ever went the way it did in its decision making, totally ignoring. Again, just sticking to the stuff I know, which is science. They would do things like they would get reports that some of their claims, well, let me give you a specific example. They were pushing abstinence as the only proper means for birth control. And when and they stopped giving condoms to the Africans, and millions probably died because of that alone, of AIDS. And then when the National Institutes for Health put on its website a report that showed that abstinence didn't work, the Republicans made them take it off. So there you have, you have not only, non-evidence-based decision-making, but you have the subversion of the whole process. There's a lot of books on that. There's a book called The Republican War on Science that tells that. Yeah.
Just one finer point about the bomb. The creation of a sustainable nuclear fission reaction is a scientific success.
Yeah.
Period. The morality of locating that reaction over an inhabited area is an entirely different debate.
Yeah, sure. That's right. You're right. I don't disagree with that.
But is there not an inherent scientific agenda of increasing human power by any means available, to whatever extent possible?
Yeah, but again, morality is separated, is detachable from that.
I know, I hear that said. I hear that said that moral issues are separate from scientific issues, but I'm saying, isn't there a moral issue in the very mission of science to expand human power the most that it can be?
What do you mean about power? About human power. Human knowledge is what science is about. Power.
Well, isn't that like all of medicine? I mean, looking at medicine, someone's dropping dead of a heart attack, and we're intervening, and you could argue, well, no, God's plan, he's having a heart attack, you don't intervene, let him die. But no, we're humans, we don't like the natural evil that occurs, the unacceptable, the human suffering, and so we do intervene, and we do expand our knowledge to try and figure out how things work to better protect human life.
Yeah, there's ethical questions like the cloning thing. We have the power to do it. We have all these committees and meetings of theologians and scientists. Should we allow it or not, and how do you stop it and decide it's a bad thing?
I think if Dr. Stenger, may I ask a question?
Sure.
In Sam Harris's book, The End of Faith, he proposed that if the world didn't reign, the fundamentalists, at least up into the 20th century, this experiment would be doomed to fail. Our life would be doomed to fail. And he specifically mentioned Pakistan and India. I have friends in both of those countries. I'm retired military.
Yeah.
I know the situation with the atomic weapons there.
Right.
There you have two religious entities that are at war right now. They're having skirmishes right on the border. If atomic weapons fall into the hands of fundamentalist religious believers, they will use them. What is your, do you remember that in his book?
Yeah.
The way he phrased it?
Right. Now, let me say that he said a number of controversial things, like supporting torture, for example. And I make a big point in my book that I'm just talking about the new atheism from the religion science standpoint, and not get into these political issues. That he has his own website where he answers his critics on those issues, and you can refer to that. I don't defend him for any of that, just as I don't defend a lot of Christopher Hitchens' various actions. But they were the guys that started this movement, and that's why I talk about their writings. That's all, on religion and science.